What is good, y'all? Mikey T, the movie star here, and we got a pretty much a breaking news exclusive. A few months back, Whack 100 had made claims that the game had actually wrote "What Up Gangsta." That's right, one of the first songs, the first song after the quarter drop on the Get Rich or Die Trying album. So a lot of people were like, nah, Whack 100, you're cap, you're 100% cap. G Unit wasn't even really affiliated with the game at that point in time. If you really look back into the history, the game had started to come around G Unit in probably late 2002. Bangum Smurf had actually told me in exclusive interviews about meeting the game when he was very early on. I believe he said the game had on a brown handkerchief at that point in time, you guys. And he basically explained to me meeting several members. You guys remember what Bangum Smurf said about knowing Tony Yayo and also meeting Young Buck when he was gripped up. So I don't take Bangum Smurf to be a liar. So when he first said he met the game, that leads me to believe that the game was around during the What Up Gangsta phase. Now, the game has said he did not write the track, but he said he was there and he was a part of the influence. So finally, we got an answer to this question. The game said, I didn't write What Up Gangsta for 50. I was in there and a part of the influence. And if you know, I call it like the way the Lox records music. Let's not get into the way that the Lox records music game. Let's first of all talk about why your manager was going on Clubhouse and making claims that you were the writer of What Up Gangsta, one of 50 Cent's most notorious records, a song that 50 Cent actually performs pretty much every time when he gets on stage. You would always have the guys from G Unit, Banks and Buck or Yayo, yourself, Game, hyping up the record. So how are you going to let your manager, your second manager, by the way, your first manager was Jimmy Henchman, the guy who had beef with your idol Tupac. Yeah, how are you going to let your manager run around and say that you wrote one of 50 Cent's most famous records? You're letting him run around with all of his clickbait titles. Game finally clears it up, saying that he didn't write What Up Gangsta for 50. Now he's going to go, he says, I call it like the way the Lox records music. Jada is writing his verse, and Styles and Chic is right there, like, nah, say that. And you can throw it in there just like, so the game is going to tell me about how Jadakiss and the Lox record their music. Okay, game. You know, the same guy you were dissing, Eminem, I'm pretty sure he was on Welcome to D Block. I don't remember any notable songs that Game has ever made with Jadakiss. I don't remember any notable songs that they've made together. So please miss me with this false information that you're putting out there about Jadakiss, Styles P, and Sheik Lucha. When were you in the studio with those guys? Somebody drop me a comment. Let me know if Jada even gave the game a verse for his LAX album, which was riddled with so many features that you couldn't even tell me the number that are on there. It's probably like 33 features on the game's album. So let's go into this, man. Game said, obviously, What Up Blood, What Up Cuz is Los Angeles influence. This is LA, so it is what it is. Take nothing away from 50. Yeah, it's an LA influence. 50 Cent was in the studio with who? 50 Cent was in the studio with Dr. Dre, the biggest influence from the West Coast ever. You know, when people started to say what's happening to the West Coast, when people started to say that, Dr. Dre went to work with the biggest artist from the East Coast and created You Game. What happened to the West Coast after Pac? You know what I'm saying? What happened to the East Coast after Big? We see what happened. And then the game in 50 actually started beefing. That's why it was ultimately crazy. And a lot of the magazines, a lot of publications were about to start running off with the West versus the East Coast thing a lot more. Now, 50 bowed out from the beef. I think the only record 50 ever recorded against the game was probably that Not Rich, Still Lying. 300 shots wasn't really a direct diss, so miss me with that, you guys. But anyways, the game gave 50 his credit here, y'all. He said 50 is a great writer. That's what he do, especially anything melodic. Hooks is his specialty. Thanks for that generic answer. And his verses are his stories. He ain't capping. He's really about that life. So Game is giving 50 Cent his chops, even though, he's just really hasn't even known 50 Cent for that long, to be real. And he's already making a determination that he's about that life. I mean, it is what it is. You could say what you want about that. But Game says he ain't capping. He was really about that life, and actually gives us an indication now in his next comment about why they actually started bumping heads, why there started to become issues between the two of them. Game said, so am I. So am I. That's where we bumped heads at. I didn't do no writing for 50. He didn't do no writing for me. He knows. And 50 is not a better writer than me. Not a better lyricist. Better with the hooks and the melodies. That's his thing. But as far as lyricism, he can't F with me on that level. I mean, if I were to go back to the Untold Stories album that you did, Game, and I'm going back to Power of the Dollar, 50 Cent destroyed you when it comes to lyrics on that. Let's be real. Now, if we're going to look at things in another format, the Black Wall Street versus G-Unit, G-Unit is actually a label that you could present alongside Bad Boy and Death Row. Black Wall Street was botched from the beginning. Black Wall Street, you destroyed it before you could even make it something. You had a number of great artists with you. And I mean, shit, if you turned your back on G-Unit, what do we expect for the Black Wall Street? Because Juice didn't get his opportunity. Your boy didn't get his opportunity. I don't believe Compton Menace got his rightful opportunity. I hope y'all are good, though, because y'all is family. That's none of my business. I'm just talking about the music aspect of what I saw. So he's basically saying that 50 doesn't have nothing on him except when it comes to the melodies. 50's melodies made it so people wanted to purchase your albums. 50 didn't write for you? You didn't write for 50? Okay, I believe that. Now, 50 didn't write for you? How are you going to say 50 didn't write for you when he was doing all the hooks for Hate It or Love It, How We Do, when he was working on Church for Thugs? I think he even worked for Special. I think they replaced 50 with Nate Dogg on Special. Now, if you want to say 50 didn't write your verses, all right, I'll give you that. Your verses were riddled with industry shout-outs. All you were doing was shouting out people in the industry, so much that Kanye West came and served you up a genius single, Wouldn't Get Far, on your second album. So, honestly, man, 50 writing for Game, when it comes to hooks, people can say what they want. You sang the hooks. You sang the hook on How We Do. You sang the hook on the other major record, Hate It or Love It. So miss me with that as well. If you're singing somebody else's verse, you can't say that they didn't write for you, in a sense, man. So I'm glad the Game actually came out and cleared up the air about that record. What Up Gangsta, because it's a timeless joint. It's something that 50 Cent's going to be performing for the rest of his life. When that assertion was made, I was like, damn, there could be some legitimacy to this based on the fact that 50's in LA. Yeah, based on the fact that 50 wants to appeal to a whole nother audience, which he did.